This is the Red Line Network.
And how's it going, my little chickadees? It's Tuesday. It'll be August 4th. Heavenly birthday to my cousin Jamie, who just passed away recently. August 4th was her birthday. 55 years old. 55 years old, gone too soon. But happy heavenly birthday. Welcome to another edition of Student Body right here on the Red Line Radio Network. I'm your host, Ryan Neff. I was trying to download something. For some reason, if you ever watch my shows, technology has a way of shoving a red hot poker up my ass. But welcome. Hey, I don't put any faith or stock in the preseason polls because I think they're bullshit. Whether it's college football, college basketball, baseball, it doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean shit. But just for shits and giggles, this is the coach's preseason poll. I will read them as such. Thanks to everybody that tunes in, by the way. They've got Missouri preseason. This is coaches now. Of course, the coaches will just have one of their assistants take care of it. They've got Missouri ranked 25th, Houston 24th, Clemson 23rd, Iowa is 22nd, Utah 21st, SMU 20th. They have Washington 19th preseason, Tennessee 18th, Penn State 17th, Michigan 16th, BYU 15th, USC is 14th. That'll be Southern California. LSU 13th, Texas Tech 12th, Alabama 11th, Ole Miss 10th, Oklahoma 9th, Texas A&M 8th, Miami 7th, Indiana. They're ranked 6th in the preseason coaches poll, but they got 14 first place votes. 5th, Texas 4th, Georgia 3rd, Oregon 2nd, Ohio State numero uno in the preseason coaches poll. Again, it doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean shit to me because it's going to change after the first 2 weeks anyway. Because there'll be upsets. Texas, Ohio State plays. So it's all going to change. Some news and notes from around the world in college football. Put up by Jake Trotter, ESPN. Indiana defensive lineman Stephen Daly to return for his 5th season. He was honorable mention all Big Ten last year. He had 19 tackles for loss to go along with 5.5 sacks. He missed the entire playoffs. If you remember, he suffered a knee injury in the 13-10 win over Ohio State. He was cleared by Indiana officials for a 5th year and final year in the wake of the district court ruling in Colorado. Again, class of 2022. They can all come back for a 5th year. He began his career at Kent State before transferring to Indiana. So everybody from the class of 22, that would be 2022. If said player is working for their parents' local business, they can all come back and play college football. Reported by the Associated Press, the College Football Playoff Committee has added App State AD Doug Gillen to the selection committee. Again, I don't want to see ADs. I don't want to see fucking presidents. I don't want to see any administrative people on the College Football Playoff Committee anymore. That shit needs to stop. The College Football Playoff Committee should be consisting of former players, former coaches. I got a comment coming through. At Dark Rope Collective, let's go. Also, heck yeah, I'm new here. Is this just college sports talk? Adam, that would be correct. At the top of the hour, though, at 8 o'clock, it'll be all sports talk. If you're looking for the political show, that is every Monday to talk sports. I mean, to talk politics. But again, the College Football Playoff Committee should not consist of any administrative people. None. But Nick Saban should be the head of the College Football Playoff Committee. And then former coaches or players, analysts who watch college football 24/7, like I do. I'm not an analyst, just a fan that watches college football on Saturday 24/7 and keeps up with it year round. So he's been added to the College Football Playoff Committee. I don't care. I think it's a joke. Mario Cristobal, he has secured a Miami extension on his contract. He's entering the fifth, or reported by Andrea Adelson. He's entering the fifth year of a 10-year deal that ran through 2031, which paid him about $8 million annually. They have not, I guess, come up with terms. It's not saying what the terms are. Mr. Dark Rope. I liked it. Awesome. Nope, I'm here for it. Was just curious of your opinion on the new Cleveland WNBA. I haven't followed college football enough to know anything. WNBA, I don't know. It's the face of the league is Caitlin Clark. I follow it to a point, but I think done by idiots, to be quite honest with you. I think the new collective bargaining agreement for the women should be a lot better than the current one that they have now. As far as Cleveland and the WNBA, I think it's cool. I think what the WNBA should do, I think they should have a minimum 20 teams. I don't know what they have now. I'd have to go look at it again. I think they have, 15, 16, somewhere in there. WNBA should have a minimum of 20 teams. And then you can break it up into an East 10 teams, West 10 teams. Or if you're not going to do that, then just have a 20-team league. But Cristobal, coming off the national championship game, he has an extension. Now, normally when you're coming off a season like that and you sign an extension, we all know what happens. I'm not saying this can happen in Miami, but I guess he's earned it. The Notre Dame USC rivalry, they are going to renew it. Notre Dame and Indiana will have a home and home off. USC and Notre Dame, supported by Paolo Uggetti, ESPN. At Dark Road Collective says, thanks for answering the question. I agree with what you're saying for sure. Yes, WNBA is just too small. Too small. You would think after almost 30 years of WNBA, they have at least 20 teams. Because it's been 30 years. 30 years and you have 15 teams? I think that's a joke. You should expand. Put a team in Pittsburgh, put a team in Philly. Put some teams where they're basketball crazy. But Notre Dame and USC to renew their rivalry in 2030 with a 4-game series that will feature back-to-back season openers. However, it will also coincide with the departure of defending national champion Indiana from the Fighting Irish's future schedule, sources told ESPN's Adam Rittenberg. I don't know what it means. I mean, are there really rivalry games anymore? Like in the Pac-12 or the I guess you can start new rivalries. I don't know. Like I had Jamie Vinnick on last week from covers Washington State football. Why would you play the Apple Cup in the beginning of the year? It makes no sense. There are still some rivalries that are played at the end of the year, and they're not in the same conference anymore. So I don't get it. Quoted by Pete Thamel, Espen. Purdue is hiring longtime athletic director Tommy McClelland, hiring him from Rice. McClelland has been a sitting athletic director for nearly 2 decades. 3 years at Rice, stints at McNeese and Louisiana Tech. So good for them. So they have a new AD. Let's see what else. Who's on the news wire? I just find this a bit humorous. Supported by the Associated Press. This was on Sunday. Judge says injunction doesn't cover football players who signed pro deals. So he's gonna clarify it here. The judge who granted the right to play another year of college sports to some athletes whose eligibility ran out last school year issued a new order Sunday that makes clear that the ruling does not include football players who signed pro contracts this summer, then had a change of heart. U.S. District Judge Charlotte Sweeney responded to an NCAA request for clarity about her Friday ruling that granted a 5th year to athletes who graduated high school in 2022 and were not included in the new NCAA rule that allows 5 seasons of eligibility for Division I players. The decision, she said, still stands, but has no impact on other NCAA rules, including its prohibition on players signing pro contracts and coming back to college. I'm just going to read it here verbatim. The ruling, as first written, had the potential to upend the upcoming college football season as teams are starting camp and planning on the so-called 5-for-5 rule to take effect beginning next fall. Extending it to players this fall granted hundreds a chance to return to school. Like I said, in the direct aftermath of the decision, some media reports were listing players on NFL and CFL rosters who were signaling that they'd be open to returning to school. But the new rule order that this judge has is if you've already signed a contract to play professional football, you are left out of that equation. They just make shit up as they go. That's all this is. Something comes out with semi-pro sports at the college level, they just make it up as they go. Because that seems to be the new norm. It's just make shit up as you go. If someone has a problem with it, we'll just make more shit up and add to it. The Texas Longhorns have signed the number 3 running back prospect in 2027. He commits to Texas. That would be Landon Williams-Callis. He's from Richmond, Texas. Right now he's 5'8", 185 pounds. Five-star receiver Easton Royal, number 8 overall recruit. He also committed to Texas in November. So Texas is reloading as we speak. I I kind of laugh when like ESPN came out with their college football's 4 most important players were Manning, Moore, and other top quarterbacks rank. Just for shits and giggles, I'll play along. They have new likely quarterbacks for potential contenders. Alabama's Keelan Russell. Josh Hoover for Indiana. Darian Mensa for Miami. And Will Hammond for Texas Tech. Yes. So we'll see. Quarterbacks with a game-changing leap in them, according to these guys. Arch Manning. Oh, by the way, new likely quarterbacks for potential contenders. They got Keelan Russell as 1, Hoover 2nd, 3rd Darian Mensa, 4th Will Hammond. They have 5th Arch Manning. Dante Moore. They have 6th. John Mateer for Oklahoma 7th. Marcel Reed 8th. Quarterbacks with spoiler and contender potential. DeMond Williams Jr. at Washington. Faison Brandon or George McIntyre for Tennessee, quarterback battle there. Aaron Philo for Florida. We'll see how Philo does under John Summerall. As a Gators fan, it's still open for me on Summerall. I'll give him a chance though. I wasn't happy with the Napier hire, but I gave him a chance for 2 years, and then I was done. Potential stars in need of a breakthrough. At 12, they've got Ryan Coleman Williams for wide receiver for Alabama. 13th wide receiver for Ohio State, Brandon Ennis. They have the most important non-quarterback transfers. They're 14th overall college football player to make an impact. Cam Coleman, wide receiver, Texas. Isaiah Canyon, wide receiver, Georgia. Adam Trick, Texas Tech. Damon Wilson, defensive end for Miami, 17th. Terrell Anderson, wide receiver, USC. Jordan Seaton, offensive tackle, LSU. James Smith and/or John Walker, defensive line, Ohio State. And Kenny Johnson, wide receiver, Texas Tech. Again, thanks for tuning in wherever you are, whether maybe you're in New Zealand. Maybe you're at one of the poles, the north or south. You're tuning in. Welcome. I'm just gonna go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to the the coaches preseason. It's the same players that'll be vying for the national title. But as I look at the list here, I think everybody would have gathered that Ohio State and Oregon would be at the top of the list, with the bulk of both rosters returning. Georgia at 3, a little bit of a surprise, I guess. Texas at 4, Notre Dame at 5. Look, if Notre Dame should run the table, if they beat Miami, they should go 12-0 in the regular season. They should. But as I go down the list here, look at some of them. Clemson being down at 23rd is interesting. How's Dabo going to get back on top? I don't think it'll happen, but I could be wrong. Utah post Kyle Whittingham, they're still a preseason top 25 team according to ESPN, the coaches poll. Penn State and Michigan, there it's 17 and 16 respectively. See what happens there. Texas Tech is sitting at 12 after the season they had last year. I'm interested to see with that $30 million roster what they do this year. Because right now, looking at it here, if I go to the Big 12, their highest ranking is Texas Tech at 12. And BYU at 15th. Utah at 21st. Houston at 24th. So if you look at the top 10, the Big 10 has 1, 2, 3 in there. SEC has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Miami from the ACC. And then that's it. And then it's a smattering of stuff. Again, I don't know how in the hell Indiana's ranked 6th, but they've got the second most first place votes. Ohio State unanimous number 1. They have 38 first place votes. And then second is Indiana. They've got them ranked 6th. They've got 14. Georgia, who is in third, they've got 7 first place votes. Oregon second, they've got 6. Notre Dame at 5. They have 5 first place votes. Hopefully your favorite team is ranked. Mine's not. Mine's not at all. Heather Dinich came up with her 31 teams that can make the college football playoff, according to her. Texas Longhorns number 1. She has them ranked first to make the college football playoff. Ohio State 2. She has Notre Dame 3. She has Oregon in the number 4 spot to make the college football playoff. 5th spot, she's got the Georgia Bulldogs. 6th, the Indiana Hoosiers. 7th team that can make the college football playoff, according to her, is the Miami Hurricanes. She has them ranked 7th. 8th, Ole Miss. Ole Miss will be interesting to see. Coming off the Lane Kiffin there. What they can do. 9th, she has Texas A&M. 10th, LSU. I think LSU might get punched in the mouth a little bit this year. She has USC 11th, and then Oklahoma 12th. Those are the 12 teams, basically, that she has sort of penciled in for the college football playoff. There's 31 teams that she says to make the college football playoff. 13, she has BYU. So right now, the BYUs would be on the outside looking in for Texas Tech. So by her math here, she has BYU to probably win the Big 12. Thanks for the heart, whoever sent me the heart. Thank you. In 15, she has the Michigan Wolverines. I still have to see it at her Winningham. I think they'll be better than they were last year, obviously. 16, she has Penn State. She has Alabama all the way at 17. Again, I never thought DeBoer was the guy. Thought he should have stayed at Washington. He would have stayed at Washington when he was building, and then they jumped to the Big 10. he would have had a much better chance to do some things in the Big Ten that's currently constructed rather than the SEC. You never want to follow a Saban. You never wanted to follow Bear Bryant. You never wanted to follow Woody Hayes. You look at my Florida Gators. I mean, Urban Meyer, for all the shit that went down in Florida, they've sucked since then. Could sprinkle in a 10-1 season ever since then. 18th she has SMU. The 19th team she has to make the college football playoff is the Huskies, Washington. 20th, Arizona. 21st, Iowa. 22nd, the Houston Cougars, who might be a dark horse. 23rd, Louisville. 21st, Utah. Again, I want to see how they are post Whittingham. 25th, UNLV. Dan Mullen squad. They were great last year, 10-4. They just couldn't beat Boise. '26th, she has Tennessee. 27th, TCU. 28th, Boise. 29th, Clemson. South Carolina, 30th. And the last team that she has here that could make the college football playoff is Virginia Tech. So if we go down in here, let's go to Texas's schedule. They open up against Texas State. That's a bludgeoning. Get it. Texas might be favored by 50 in that one. Oh, that's September 5th. That's September 12th. They've already got a time, 7:30 p.m. on ABC, a night game. They're home against Ohio State. That's huge. If they can get through that game, then they've got Texas San Antonio to follow up, which could be a trap game. If they beat Ohio State, if they lose to Ohio State, no big deal with the way everything is constructed now for the college football playoff. They'll beat Texas San Antonio. Then they're at Tennessee. That's a 12 p.m. kickoff. Not easy. Not an easy place to play. Then they're home against Oklahoma. You get the River Shootout. So after the Tennessee game, they get a bye. Home against not Oklahoma. It's the Red River Shootout at the Texas State Fair. 3:30 p.m. start this year. Home against Florida. They'll have revenge on their mind. And they're home against Ole Miss. Again, tough. Home against Mississippi State. That'll be a W. At Missouri, tough. And at LSU, tough. Home against Arkansas, and then they play the Aggies Thanksgiving weekend. So it's not easy. Not an easy schedule, period. I know Texas is going to be loaded again this year. But again, you could look at these games. They could lose to Ohio State. They could lose to Tennessee. They could lose to Oklahoma. They could lose to Florida. They could lose to Ole Miss. Mississippi State's a W. At Missouri is no easy task. At LSU, no easy task. Arkansas and at A&M, no easy task. They could go 11-1. They could go 12-0. They can go 8-4. They can go 7-5 with this schedule. And again, they have to prove it to me on the field. They have to prove it to me on the field. This is not an easy schedule by any stretch of the imagination. But according to Heather Dinich, there's a 70% chance, basically, of them making the playoff, a 13% chance of them winning the national title. Let's go to Ohio State's schedule. She's got them as the second team to make the college football playoff. Up against Ball State, obviously that MAC Big Ten matchup, that's a bludgeoning. Then again, at Texas, we'll see. And they're home against Kent State, that's a bludgeoning. Home against Illinois, we know Ohio State's history with Illinois. They always struggle with Illinois for some reason. At Iowa, not easy playing there. Home against Maryland, they'll beat them. At Indiana, we know they'll have revenge on their mind from the Big Ten championship game. Then they got to go to USC. Not easy. Home against Oregon. Not easy. Home against Northwestern should be a W. At Nebraska, probably a W. And then, of course, the big game at the end of the year. So, got to watch out for Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, USC, Oregon, and Michigan. 6 games. 6 out of the 6. Big Ten might be beating up on one another this year. Much like I think the SEC will beat the shit out of one another again. Third team she has is the Fighting Irish. Oh, the Buckeyes, by the way, she has is. What does she have here? As soon as I get to it. She has the Buckeyes as a 75.7% chance of making the college football playoff, winning the national title 17%. They're the odds on favorite to win. Notre Dame, she has as the third team to make the college football playoff. She has to make the playoff almost 75%. To win the national title, 10.5%. Let's go to their schedule. If they don't go undefeated, there's only one game on here they have to worry about. It's Miami, and they get them at home. It's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on November the 7th. Home against Wisconsin, forget it. Home against Rice, W. Home against Michigan State, W. 3 straight home games. At Purdue, Purdue stinks, W. At North Carolina, most likely a W. Home against Stanford, Stanford's program is horrible. At BYU is another tough one. I forgot about that one. That'll be tough. Home against Navy, that'll be a W. Then they're home against Miami. There's a tricky one, obviously. Boston College, SMU, Syracuse. They should win all those 3. There's 3 games on here. If I were a fan, I would be a little worried about. At BYU will be tough. Home against Miami. Home against SMU. The 4th team, she has Oregon Ducks. Has a 64.7% chance to make the playoff, winning the national title 9%. Let's look at the Duck schedule this year. Home against Boise State. Boise State's not going to be easy. At Oklahoma State. Last year, probably would have been a laugher. This year, it's probably going to be a laugher. But we'll see. Portland State's a W. At USC, another big one. Home against UCLA, home against Nebraska. Those should be W's. At Illinois, tricky. Home against Northwestern, should be a W. At Ohio State, tricky. Home against Michigan, we'll see. At Michigan State, W. And, of course, at the end with Washington. So, really the games they have to worry about are at USC, at Ohio State, and maybe at Illinois. So 3 games. The 5th team she has making the college football playoff for the Georgia Bulldogs. She has a 64% chance to make the college football playoff and a 9% chance to win the Natty. Let's go to Georgia's schedule. They open with Tennessee State, and the following week is Western Kentucky. They'll be 2-0 after the first 2 weeks. Then they're at Arkansas. That'll be a W. Be 3-0 heading into September 26th showdown against Oklahoma. That'll be a tough one. I fully expect Georgia to win. Then they follow it up against Vanderbilt. They should be 5-0 heading into the Alabama game on October 10th. And we all know Kirby Smart's history against Alabama. It's not great. When they follow it up, they stay in Alabama. They go to Auburn. They're home against Auburn. That should be a W. They're home against Florida. My Gators. They don't have the horses yet. At Ole Miss. Tricky. Home against Missouri. Tricky. At South Carolina might be tricky. And of course, the Georgia Tech game could be tricky. So the Alabama game, I'd be concerned about Ole Miss and maybe South Carolina. Maybe Oklahoma, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. The 6 teams she has making the college football playoff be Indiana. She has them as a 57% chance to make the playoff to win the national title against 6%. Let's look at Indiana's schedule. I said, let's look at Indiana's schedule. Home against North Texas. North Texas is good, but they should beat them. Then they follow up with Howard. Not a gentleman named Howard University. Then they follow that with Western Kentucky. There should be 3 wins right now. Then they're home against Northwestern. That should be a W. They're at Rutgers. That should be a W. They're at Nebraska. That should be a W. They should be 6-0 heading into their October 17th matchup with Ohio State, and they get them at home. Then they're at Michigan. Tough. Home against Minnesota. Probably a W. Home against USC. They'll be coming off a bye. At Washington versus Purdue. So really, the only, I would say, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, and Washington. I was going to try and throw Minnesota in there, but I don't think so. Coming up at 7:45, Jason Staples will cover North Carolina football. Well, he'll be on Student Body Right. We'll talk about Bill Belichick's second year upcoming here on the Red Line Radio Network. Oh, before I forget again. So many things on my mind. Let me just go to it here. Because if I don't do this now, I will forget. Let me take my ugly ass off here for a second. And let me do this, a little bit of this, throw a little spice on it. Where is it? There it is. Take my ass off there. I got to go before he comes on here. I always read this off the X. At Doc Staples on the machine, the X machine. Former coach, Unconquered Pod, football analyst at Inside Carolina. His book, AMZN.2. 3W, capital C, N, capital U, capital E, lowercase t. His opinions are his. Non-sports, you can reach him at Jason Staples on the X. So he should be coming on in a couple minutes. Let me keep going down the line here. The 7 teams she has making the playoff are the Miami Hurricanes for the 7th best chance. She has Miami at a 61.4% chance to make the playoff and a 5% chance to win the national title. Let's look at the Hurricane schedule. They open up at Stanford. That's a joke. They'll win that one. And they get Florida A&M at home. Another joke. At Wake Forest, they'll beat them. Versus Central Michigan at home, they'll beat them. It'll be 4-0. Then they're at Clemson. It's like Dabble Sweeney said a long time ago, it's where dreams come to die. Bring your own guts. That'll be a tricky one. Then they get a bye week, and then they play Florida State at home. Still don't know what I'm getting from Florida State. I have no clue. Home against Pitt. We know in recent years, Miami and Pitt sort of been a good game. At North Carolina. Still don't like North Carolina's chances this year again. Then they're at Notre Dame. Biggie. That's late. That's early November. Home against Duke. Home against Virginia Tech. And then home against Boston College. So there's potential slip-ups here. Clemson. Florida State might be dicey. Pitt might be dicey. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. So five potential. Boston College, forget it. They'll beat Boston College. It's at home. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Depending on how Mr. James Franklin has Virginia Tech put in the shape, we'll see on that one. Duke had a good year last year. We'll see what happens there. But the first 4 weeks of the season, anyway, for Miami, it's a cakewalk. I know they have to go to Wake Forest, but forget it. They should beat the doors off of Wake Forest. The 8th team she has a great chance to make the playoff. The Ole Miss Rebels. 22.8% chance to make the playoff to win the national title, 1.3. So let's jump to the Ole Miss Rebels schedule. They open up with Louisville. That's not easy, but it's at home. It's a late game, 7:30 p.m. I believe that's a Sunday evening. Yes. Then they're home against Charlotte. Forget it. That's a destruction. Then they're home against LSU, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. That's the 19th of September. It's a night game, obviously. Tricky. And then they get followed up with Florida. They're at Florida. Tricky. At Vanderbilt, they should win that one. Home against Mizzou. Tricky. Home against Texas. Or no, so they're at Texas. Tricky. Home against Auburn. We'll see. Home against Georgia. At Oklahoma. Then they get Wofford and then Mississippi State at home. Not easy. Very dicey. Got to worry about LSU. Got to worry about Florida. You got to worry about Missouri, Texas, Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma. I would say 7 or 8 games Ole Miss has to worry about. That is not an easy schedule at all. Part of it is a gauntlet. The 9th team she has on here is Texas A&M. To make the playoff, about a 40% chance. National title, 3% chance. Let's look at Texas A&M schedule. They open up against Missouri State, please. Home against Arizona State, that's a W. Home against Kentucky, that's a W. At LSU, we'll see, tricky. Home against Arkansas, W. At Missouri, tricky. Then they get the Citadel. At Alabama, big one. At South Carolina, tricky. Although they get a bye week after Bama. Home against Tennessee, tricky. At Oklahoma, tricky. Home against Texas, tricky. Again, you got to worry about LSU. You got to worry about Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Texas. So 6 out of the 6 games at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no 7. I got 7 games down here that A&M should be worried about. Hopefully, Mr. Staples will be on here soon. Everything is okay. Thanks for the heart. It's always appreciated wherever you're tuning in from. The 10 team that she has in here in line potentially to make the college football playoff is LSU. She has them as a 40% chance to make the college football playoff and win the national title, about 3.5%. Let's go to LSU's schedule. They open up against Clemson, but that probably will be a win. Clemson is just a shell of themselves. Home against Louisiana Tech, that'll be a W. At Ole Miss, tricky. Follow that up with Texas A&M, tricky. Home against McNeese, that should be a W. At Kentucky, W. Home against Mississippi State, W. At Auburn, tricky. Big win against Alabama, they get them at home after a bye week off of Auburn. Then they're against Texas, at Tennessee, and at Arkansas. You got to worry about Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Auburn, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee. 6 out of the 6 games on here are tough. Tough. Like I said before, I think the Big Ten's going to beat up on one another this year. I think that the SEC is going to beat the shit out of one another. Then the 11th team in line here that she has to make the college football playoff, potentially the Trojans. I disagree. Until Lincoln Riley can prove he can get them to the promised land. The promised land for them is the college football playoff. He hasn't done shit since he's been there. To make the college football playoff, 27.7%. To win the national title, 1.7. Let's look at the Trojans' schedule. They open up with San Jose State, please. Home against Fresno, please. Then against the Raging Cajuns, that's at home. That'll be a W. 3-0. At Rutgers, that's a win. They should be 4-0 heading into their showdown with Oregon on September 26th. Could they be looking ahead against Rutgers? I don't think so. Then they follow up the Oregon game with Washington on October the 3rd. Tough. Then they're at Penn State. October 10th. Not easy. At Wisconsin, that'll be a W. Home against Ohio State. Tough. Then they're at Indiana. Tough. Home against Maryland, it should be W. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games I would be concerned about if I were a USC fan. Oklahoma, she has 12th. Their college football playoff record is 0-5, by the way. The playoff, she has 28%, win the national title too. Oklahoma schedule, not easy. Home against UTEP, that's a W, but then they're at Michigan the following week. That should be a toss-up. Home against New Mexico, that'll be a W. Then they're at Georgia, not easy. Then they follow Georgia with Texas at home. Not easy. Home against Kentucky should be a W. At Mississippi should be a W. Home against South Carolina, we'll see. When they're at Florida, tough. Home against Ole Miss, tough. Home against Texas A&M, tough. At Missouri, tough. Oklahoma, you got to worry about Michigan, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Missouri. 8 out of the 12 games. I'm an Oklahoma fan. I'd be worried. I would be big time worried with that schedule Oklahoma has. I would venture to say they have a slim chance of making the playoff, but not according to Heather. I hope everything's okay with Mr. Staples, but I think I'm probably going to have to end it here. Coming up at the top of the hour here on the Redline Radio Network, Early Evening Sports Buffet with the Inch. And Major League Baseball done with their trading. NFL news and much, much more. It's only Tuesday. Feels like a Thursday for me, for some odd reason. We're in the home stretch of summer, though. As of yesterday, there's 5 weeks left in what we can consider the summer season. The summer season for us here in America runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day. The seasonal summer runs from around June 20th to September 20th. Hasn't been a lot of hurricanes either, which is unusual. My grandfather always used to say, if there's not a lot of hurricanes in the summertime, the wintertime is not going to be bad in the Northeast. I don't know about other places, but he always used to say, you don't get a lot of hurricanes during the summer or during the hurricane season. That means that the wintertime, storm-wise, is going to be bad. And if you get a lot of hurricanes, then the wintertime might be cold, but you're not going to get a lot of precipitation. So I will go off his model. I'm going to end it there. I will see everybody at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. That'll probably be a quick show. Just going to have to reschedule Mr. Staples. And again, I hope everything's okay. It's everybody's busy season when it comes to college football. Completely understandable. I get it. I'm going to end it there. I'll see everybody at the top of the hour here on the Redline Radio Network. Where am I going here? Let's do a little of this, a little of this.
This is the Redline Network.